Hello. Hello. Hi. It's WP Builds. We're back. And this time we're talking about, we're going to talk about Mastodon. We're going to talk about ActivityPub, the Fediverse, and who better to join me to talk about such things than this gentleman here. This is Matthias. Matthias, it just occurred to me, right, that I always say your name and I've never really figured out if I get your name correct. So I'm going to say it like this. Matthias Pfefferle.
Nearly perfect.
Oh, that'll do.
It's Matthias Pfefferle.
Okay, Matthias Pfefferle.
Perfect. That's
second time. Yeah, nice. Okay. But the reason that we've got Matthias on is because Matthias is the author of the ActivityPub plugin for our favorite CMS, WordPress. And Matthias is going to show you a little bit about what he has worked on, what it does, what the Fediverse is, possibly what maybe you're equating it with Mastodon or something like that. Explain what all of that is, and then maybe you'll get a sneak preview of some of the stuff which is coming out of the Mastodon, the ActivityPub, I should say, plugin in the near future. Just a few bits of housekeeping before we begin, if that is okay. The first thing to do is to say that if you would like to share this with your friends, colleagues, relations, we would really love that. That would be really great. Go to your social platform of choice, something like Mastodon, for example, and share this URL. It's wpbuilds.com/live. wpbuilds.com/live. And if you go there, you've got two choices of commenting. The first one, if you're on a desktop, is there's a box to the right of the video, and that is a YouTube comment embed, which means that you need to be logged into your YouTube Google account. The other option, though, if you don't want to be a part of Google's YouTube network, you can go to the video itself, and right at the top right, it says live chat. There's a little black box. Just click on the little black box, and that's the platform's chat interface. And we'll be able to see those comments coming through. And obviously, if you've got a question or something that Matthias says, did I get it right again? Matthias. Oh, okay. If anything that he says is confusing, or you want clarification, or you just want to ask a question in general, pop it in a comment and then we can show it on the screen, a bit like these comments. So Elena is joining us, don't know where from, but she's saying hello, just joined. Hi. A chap called Nathan, that's me, said hi in return. Patricia is joining us, and she says hello. That's really nice. Thank you very, very much indeed. And Mark Kiao, not very good with the names today, is saying hello. That's really nice as well. And then Patricia following up. One of my sons is also that word, Matthias, that one. And the ActivityPub plugin is awesome. Oh, great. Okay, well, that's a perfect segue. Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, little gesture there. So, okay, first of all, would you please mind just telling us a little bit about you and how come we've got you on the podcast today? What's your, how did you get into this whole Fediverse, Mastodon, ActivityPub
stuff? Okay, so from the beginning, I started with websites, working on websites, or I fell in love with the internet and websites in the end of the 1900s. White old man. And then I fell in love with blogging, writing stuff to the internet, and sharing ideas with others. And with the rise of the social networks and their kind of walling up and keeping their own little places, and a lot of people moved to these walled gardens, I decided I want to keep the momentum of blogging, and I want to keep that relevant. And I searched for ideas or techniques that I could use to make WordPress my choice of a blogging platform, a social network. So I tried a lot of different technologies, and kind of round about 2019, I heard about the new W3C standard ActivityPub and thought, okay, let's give it again a try. And it turned out to be the right horse I bet on. So it was kind of the last thing I tried, but it was the most successful thing for now.
Nice.
Yeah, so that got me into the ActivityPub world and got me more into the WordPress world. I would say for ages, I only were a user in the whole WordPress space, and tried, kind of a spare time developer. But I would say with ActivityPub, I got more and more into the whole community, and participated more in social events, talked on WordCamps and stuff like that. Yeah.
So that then led to the bit that you didn't mention there, was that it led you to create, I guess, a plugin which is called ActivityPub.
Oh, yeah.
And do you want to take that story, or shall I just explain for you? Or
give it a try.
Okay, let me try. So the ActivityPub plugin was created by Matthias and started to become used. And I guess there was like this real interesting moment in time where Twitter, in particular, was taken over by somebody else. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And that person, there was a lot of news around it, and I feel that there were a lot of people jumping ship. And it became a real hot talking point. It's so much so, in fact, that it was in the press over here, the newspapers, it was on the television, and a lot of the coverage of that was what other things are out there. What other platforms would satisfy the same feel of Twitter, but without using Twitter, or obviously now X. And Mastodon was a platform built on top of the ActivityPub protocol, which you've just mentioned. And a lot of people started to gain interest in that. And then I think it's right to say that then got Automatic interested in the subject. Automatic, the company with two T's. And they then took you on, or they got how? What exactly is your role over there? How did you end up being an automatician? I think is what I'm asking.
In the end, I simply wrote a tweet at the right time, and
Wow.
it was more than a year ago when Matt announced his plans to integrate ActivityPub into Tumblr. And I simply asked the question, why not WordPress? And that was the beginning of our discussions. And it ended up me working kind of full time on the ActivityPub plugin for WordPress now.
Nice. What a
Yeah,
nice
that
story.
that was
Yeah.
the last good thing Twitter did.
Yeah, yeah. Woo. um, okay, so let's dig into what ActivityPub is, because I think a lot of people in their head have ActivityPub and Mastodon being the same thing, right?
Yeah,
They have this intuition that Mastodon is ActivityPub and ActivityPub is Mastodon, and it's not quite a simpler picture as that, is it? What just spell out what the ActivityPub protocol is, what it allows you to do, and we'll try to just take that journey for a minute.
it's kind of the it's as you said, it's the protocol that is used by Mastodon to um, be or have to allow a decentralized communication between different Mastodon servers, so to say. It's kind of it's similar to, let's say, email. You have the protocols SMTP, POP, IMAP, and you have applications on top of that like Google Mail, or in Germany GMX and web.de are the big players. So Mastodon is kind of the Google Mail of the social world, and ActivityPub is the POP3 SMTP thing of the social world.
Right, right. I'm going to make an analogy that I've never made before.
Okay.
Think of social networks as a car, right? And the engine, the bit that makes it work, makes it go forwards and backwards and enables it to move. That's ActivityPub. And the way that your car looks, the skin around the outside and the seats and all of that, that's Mastodon. It's not a very good analogy, is it? But never mind. It's the one that came into my head. The point is that ActivityPub is the protocol sitting beneath it all. Without ActivityPub, there'd be no interactions. When you clicked post in Mastodon, nothing would happen. It wouldn't go anywhere. People wouldn't be able to see it. It's the thing, the glue that binds it together, the underlying technology. Okay, given all of that, I think a lot of people also think that when they sign up for a social network, it's a walled garden, because that's the way that social networks took flight. You went to Facebook, you signed up for Facebook, and you were fully understanding that everything that you did would be inside of Facebook. So if you logged out, you can't do anything that you could do because you logged out. Same thing over on Twitter. In fact, just substitute any social network. But the ActivityPub protocol, or more broadly, let's say the Fediverse, there's another term we got to get used to, allows these networks to interact with each other. So if you like, it would be as if Twitter could talk to Facebook, and you could communicate with Twitter followers inside of Facebook, and Instagram could communicate with Facebook, and you could just, that's what it allows you to do, right? And because it allows you to do that, your WordPress website can be like a first citizen. You can use your website to log in to the Fediverse, make social posts, maybe even, I don't know, by now, receive replies and communicate and put comments that go through the commenting system on WordPress and all of that. So it opens up the WordPress website, which we're used to just being this static, non-social thing. It opens it up to being a first-class citizen on the Fediverse. I'm talking too much. But is that about right?
That's totally it. Yeah. And I would add one thing, because most people misunderstand the first citizen, because we learned to to cross post
Right.
in the past, because the most of the social networks were not really open and have no decentralized communication. We were forced to copy our content into their little post boxes, or maybe they had an API to post that automatically, but it was always a copy. It's kind of, here's an excerpt of my text. Here's a link where you can follow to get to the whole post, and that's it. And with ActivityPub, you can now subscribe to the full content, and you see it in your social network of choice, and not a copy, a stripped down version, but the real content, and you can interact with it, like kind of add likes, boost the content, add replies, and everything on the platform of your choice, or the app of your choice in the end. So it feels like Mastodon, but it's WordPress in the end.
Can I just parse that a little bit, because I'm not entirely sure that I get this yet, but certainly there was a moment where I really didn't get it. But what you're saying really is, if you go to Twitter and you post something, no, forget that. Let's go WordPress. If you go to WordPress, but you want to send some information about the post that you've just created to Twitter, Twitter you have to sort of send a little signal to Twitter to say, okay, here's a message, and I've written the message, but then Twitter has its own unique message. You sent something to Twitter, now Twitter has that thing. But with ActivityPub, your post is the thing.
Yeah.
So people,
exactly.
when they see it in their stream, their feed or whatever, they're seeing your post. So it hasn't gone away from your site. Your site is the thing, right?
Technically, there is caching mechanisms, but in the end, it's my post, and every reaction on that post will be shared with the original post in the end. And that's the difference between sharing something on Twitter versus using ActivityPub. Because if you share something on Twitter and someone likes it or boosts it, he or she only likes and boosts the Twitter representation. On your blog, you see nothing of that. It's simply, you build up an audience that lives in their small little ecosystem, and if you do not check that ecosystem, you wouldn't get to know if there was any interaction in the end. So
I think it's quite a mental leap, actually, to encapsulate that in your own head. I think it's quite hard to intuit that, because all the social networks so far that you've dealt with, unless of course you've dealt with ActivityPub and Mastodon, it doesn't behave like this. And so you have an expectation that, okay, what? No, say that again. And it's hard to get your head around what's going on there. But just know that the content that you create is the content. It's not getting sort of shared out. Yep, there's caching and everything, but it's your content. You've got it. And Walter, thank you for joining us. Walter says, okay, this is better maybe. Mastodon is a car, an ActivityPub is a road. I'm just trying to think that through, but I'll go with that. That sounds good to me.
because the road is more the connecting thing.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you, Walter, for your wisdom. That's much better. I shouldn't have said car anyway. Okay. So given the little preamble that we've just done, we've got an intuition now as to what ActivityPub is and what all of that is. Where should we go next? I'm thinking we should put the screen on and have a little look at some of the bits and pieces that you've been working on. Yeah. Okay. So let me first of all take these comments away. 1 second. Take that one away. And just a quick call. If you fancy sharing this with people, please do. wpbuilds.com/live. Send them there. Okay. Right. So here comes Matthias's screen. Now, not sure where this is going to... you got full control. I'm not sure where this is going to go. But like I said, if you've got a question or anything like that, please. It makes these shows so much more interesting when we get interaction like that. So, okay, over to you, Matthias, and I'll interrupt if I feel like I need to.
Okay, perfect. So I would say the easiest thing to show that my content really lives on my page is that if you have a blog let's use mine and make some advertisements.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Woo.
So there's my latest post. So you can search for the post on Mastodon, for example. Simply search it. And then nothing. Yeah. And then it shows up on Mastodon. So it's really, Mastodon is loading my content in my app of choice. In this case, it's Mastodon. And I can interact with that like I can interact with every other content on Mastodon. So for example, I can write a comment there. So let's make a reply.
Okay, so whilst you're doing that, the interface that we're looking at the moment, this black interface, look, top right hand corner, you've got the Mastodon logo.
Oh, yeah.
So we're logged into Mastodon now. The white screen that you saw a minute ago was Matthias's website. Okay, but hopefully you're staying.
This one,
yep.
WordPress.
Yep.
This one, Mastodon.
Perfect. Okay, and now you're going to reply to your own post.
The small little button at the bottom.
Okay.
And then you get the reply thingy open. And then you can add a reply, nice article, and send that.
Okay.
And now, as always with live demo,
with live technology, nothing will work. Let's see.
You see that on my WordPress blog.
Fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to take a moment, but even if it fails, right? I don't care. The fact is, we know that it works. It's just we got this live technology never seems to work.
Yeah,
hey, it's a thing.
And now you see the nice article thing, and I can allow that. We decided to keep the normal review and moderation process of WordPress, so it will always be sent to moderation, and you always have the choice to add it to the spam filter or to delete it if it's not with your if it does not fit to you.
No, that makes perfect sense because I can imagine, the web is open, Mastodon is open, anybody could write any old garbage, and then it appears on your website, and you take an SEO hit because somebody wrote something horrible. So yeah, that's the perfect way of doing it. So you can approve it. You'll get the typical email that WordPress would send out saying you got a new comment, go and approve it. Or
exactly.
That's the perfect flow. I think that's exactly what you want, right? Okay, but what I now have the question of, okay.
And now you see that
this is what I wanted to see. Yeah.
At the bottom of your there are quite some comments.
Yeah, good grief.
So yeah, here it's at the bottom, and the nice thing about that is that you really get communication again on your WordPress blog because it's a social network. So you are now part of a social network, and social networks are built to make communication and interaction with content very easy. You have to log in, and that's it. You can interact with everything. You do not have to switch apps or to switch platforms. It's not like RSS back from the old days where you have to always visit the site to add a comment and to subscribe via email to get a reminder when there is a reply to your comment. It's everything in one platform, and if someone replies, you get a notification and you can reply again. And to see that it's the same on WordPress. So you really have the whole communication thing inside of WordPress. So you see all the comments from.
Boy, you do get a lot of comments. Look at that.
Yeah, and that's really starting with the most amazing thing of the ActivityPub plugin, because really there were quite a lot of posts in the last year about that the comment section of WordPress is dead. No one comments anymore, and I would say the comments and the communication and the interaction and the discussions are what makes blogging relevant and what is the fun about blogging, to discuss what someone had in mind and wrote about. And if you simply only publish stuff without any reaction, it's not fun.
Okay, so here's a really interesting thing that sort of comes out of that. I feel that before social networks were a thing, the conversation happened in comments. The social networks came along and they walled up the conversation. The
Yeah.
conversation took place on their property, and they became incredibly successful, and in many cases incredibly, wealthy organizations, because they owned that conversation, and you couldn't escape that walled garden. Now what we're seeing is a real dramatic shift. That conversation now happening inside of a social network, but surfaced in real time on your blog. So
Yeah, because it doesn't really happen in the social network.
no,
It happens on your site,
yeah,
but using the same mechanisms like in a social network. So
yeah, okay, yeah, that's a really good call out there. So it looks like it's on the social network. It's not. You're just seeing what's on the blog. When you reply, it's a comment, in it goes. I think that's again a difficult step to sort of understand. But the point being, if conversations happens over on Mastodon and you've got the ActivityPub protocol, look at what happens on your website. Suddenly your comments are alive again.
yeah.
Okay, just a couple of things coming in. I'm just going to pause us there. So firstly, Eleanor is joining us, and she says, sorry, I am blind. Please do not apologize, Eleanor. She says, I am just listening. What's going on? Right. She says, you logged into Mastodon replying to your WP blog post, or you logged into your Mastodon client with your own WP admin account. Could you just clear that up for Eleanor?
I logged in using my Mastodon credentials. I had two different accounts to show that these are really two different things. The Matthias Pfefferle on Mastodon and the Matthias Pfefferle on the blog, and they can communicate with each other. So I used my Mastodon credentials to log into Mastodon, and then searched for one of my blog posts and replied on Mastodon using my Mastodon account. And the comment ended up in the comment section of WordPress. And now I'm allowed to reply on WordPress, and it will be federated back to Mastodon. So you really have a fully decentralized communication possible. And as a WordPress owner, you do not have to have a Mastodon account anymore. You simply can only use WordPress for publishing stuff and following the conversation and be part of the conversation.
Can I just delve into that just a tiny bit more, right? So you've obviously you've got a WordPress website. You've got an account on that WordPress website because you can log into it and install plugins and all of that kind of stuff. When you install the ActivityPub plugin, and we can get to this in a minute, are you using that user that you log in as? Are they your Mastodon? Is that how your Mastodon will appear? Or can I bring an existing Mastodon account that's on some network like mastodon.social or Masto host or whatever? Can I bring that into the plugin and use it from there? And if that question wasn't clear, I'm sorry.
These are two completely different things. So it's no longer, it's not that I use an existing account to log into something else. I do not log in to WordPress using my Mastodon account and vice versa. These are two completely different accounts. So if you search for something that simply uses an existing Mastodon account to publish stuff, then we are back in the old cross-posting world. This is really, forget Mastodon, at least from the publisher perspective. You can forget Mastodon completely. You simply have to care about your WordPress and your content, but others can follow you, and I can show that later.
I think a lot of people, when one of the things which creates the problem of people leaving platforms like X or Twitter or whatever is that they've got this following built up, right? And when you go and do this, it's almost like you're starting afresh with that thing. You know, the website is its own new thing, and you can begin that journey there. You can obviously keep your old accounts going and work it that way, but this is something new.
Yeah.
Eleanor says also, what about moderation if my comments are under approval to avoid hate speech? Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mentioned earlier.
yeah.
We do not bypass the moderation system of WordPress. It's kind of, it's the same handling as someone commented directly on your site. It is hold for moderation. It is going through spam plugins if you have installed one of them. So it's kind of the same in the end. It's publishing a comment, but not on your site, but on from Mastodon.
Yeah. So Eleanor, basically, you have full control. You can you can decline. You know, set everything as pending. Nothing will be published until you make a conscious decision to make it published. And then Patricia, thank you again. Says long blog posts could be too much. Okay, so we're imagining you've written a 10,000 word blog post. How would that look in, you know, on the Mastodon front end? Because that would be a lot, wouldn't it? Will they be displayed on other people's Fediverse walls as is? Correct. Was I thinking to have a separate site just for posting short? Oh, sorry. I was thinking to have a separate site for just posting short activities and links. Any advice?
So then let's go more into the WordPress world and the settings.
Okay, so we're now going to go into Matthias's plugin, the Mastodon plugin, and you can get this totally for free on WordPress.org. Just go search for it.
To install it, simply go to the plugins section, search for ActivityPub. Oh, you have to press new.
Yeah. I still do that.
Maybe I should
every time I do. No, I do that every time. That's
And then you can install it and activate it, and then you have. Maybe I will switch to English first. So where is it?
It's okay. I mean, you can if you wish, but okay, that's very kind of you.
So, and then you see a settings section, ActivityPub, and this the welcome screen shows you, for example, your new profiles, because this is something new, and this is kind of a learning curve, because from Twitter you are trained to only have a small username. For example, my username on Twitter is my last name, Pfefferle. But because because Mastodon and ActivityPub and the Fediverse is decentral, you have to also tell the other one where your profile lives. So
okay, we're going to have to pause there just for a minute. So we're all used to going to twitter.com or X, whatever it is. That's where it all lives, right? That's where the action's happening. But what Mastodon and ActivityPub allow people to do, just like you can download WordPress and stick it on, and there you've got a website, it's yours, example.com. You can do the same, and thousands of people have. They've installed and they've run Mastodon on their own server. And because there's thousands of servers, we have to have something in the username to say, okay, it's over on that server. And again, forgive me if I've butchered that, but is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right. And it's kind of, it looks like an email address, because it makes sense to have username at the platform. That's why it looks very similar, but it doesn't have to be an email address. But you could also use kind of your profile URL on the network. So both is possible. And for my WordPress blog, I would try it with the email-like identifier. And you simply can search for that on Mastodon or any other platform that allows you to follow others. And now you can see my full profile. This is my blog's profile on Mastodon. So
Yeah.
there's no difference from the look and feel. Simply by looking at the profile, you can't see any difference between a blog profile and a Mastodon profile.
Yeah, but the URL, if you like, the username, the profile URL or the profile name, has two parts. It has the
Yeah.
username that, like, the bit that we're used to is the at whatever it is that you want. So mine might be at WP Bills, and then you've got this appended bit at server.
Yeah.
So at username, at server. So that's hard to get in your head as to, well, why has the username got two at signs in it? That's weird. That's the mechanism, but it doesn't take long before that just starts to look really normal. Again, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. You carry on.
No, perfect. And this allows you to have multiple users on one platform. That
Right.
means if you have a multi-user WordPress where a lot of authors publish their content, Mastodon users can follow each of these authors. So and that's why you have to have the username part and the server part to build multi-user to allow multi-users. So, and to come back to the question with long content and short content. With WordPress, we decided to, in the end, allow both. So it's possible to have the full content on Mastodon, but it's also possible to strip that down. For example, the metaverse post is only the excerpt and a link back to the original article. So it's up to you in the end how you decide. How what you prefer to share on Mastodon in the end.
Actually, there's an interesting thing in there as well, isn't there? I guess to some extent, it's also about thinking about other people, because in our social networks, we are used to this little bit of text and then the other little bit of text, and then very occasionally when I'm browsing through Mastodon, I will see a post which is extremely long, and it is strange. It's kind of weird that I've got to scroll through it to get through that one. So there's, just maybe give that a bit of thought. The people also consuming it might find it weird that you are posting your latest novel.
Yeah, but that is mostly because of Mastodon was designed to build a microblogging platform.
Yeah.
So when I said that you are in control of what you share, there's a setting on WordPress where you can decide what default content type we should use to publish something. If you choose Note, it will always post the full content.
Okay.
That's a bit strange because Note is posting the full content, article will be stripped down. But it is like it is. So,
this is the way it is right now. Yeah.
But if you decide to use WordPress post format, it will try to decide what's best to share. So, for example, if you use a note, let's say you post something without a title or something that is very short, it will be sent as a note. And if it's a full article with headline and a certain number of characters, then it will be shared as an article. And Mastodon, as I said, is stripping down articles to only use the excerpt and a link back to the original content. This way, you give the decision to the platform who's showing the content. That means with the article, you send the full content and a summary. And Mastodon decides to use the summary for an article. But there are other platforms that are about full blogging or full content, and they might show the full content. or maybe there are other platforms like, for example, PixelFed, that are designed with a focus on images. So they will add the image at the top and present the image more in the end. So
Okay.
it's kind of, you provide some data for the consuming platform, and this platform decides what's best to show in the
Okay,
end.
so that's interesting. So, but you have choices,
Yeah,
which in other platforms you just don't. You don't get
yeah,
that choice. It's just the platform decides how it's going to look.
yeah.
Um,
It's also a bit tricky
yeah, I was going to
because
say there's an experiment you've got
yeah,
to run on
yeah.
on your content, really, isn't there?
And you can't be sure that your content will display the same
Yep,
way on every platform.
yep.
That's kind of the disadvantage of that.
Okay,
But
so we've got a question here from Eleanor again, who is a novel writer, it turns out. She says, I'm a novel writer. I think the best way, it's not a question, I apologize. I think the best way to share this kind of content is having the excerpt posted.
yeah,
Agree?
yeah,
Okay.
I would agree.
Yeah.
If this is a very long text, and maybe you also use paging for that, it's I would say it's the best to only share the excerpt, but you still are possible to get all the interaction stuff even without the length of the content is not changing how others can interact with the content.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Should we go back to your settings? We took a bit of a long aside there, didn't we? Let's see. Go
Yeah,
back to there.
that's
Okay.
quite long.
Perfect.
So on the top, you can decide if you want to have authors enabled. That means every author on your blog that has the ability to publish content will be enabled for ActivityPub. Or if you want to have one account to follow, that means kind of that you simply follow the blog and everyone could follow this one account, and it will share every article regardless of the author.
So in your case, that was an easy decision because you've got an authorship of one, but
Yeah.
you can make a choice around that, and you've gone for the blog. So it's just
No, I decided to use both. And
oh
the
oh
nice
you do.
thing,
I see that
yeah,
now. Sorry. Yeah.
the nice thing about using both is in that combination, every article will be published under the name of the author, and the blog account is kind of boosting that. So
Got it. Got it.
you
Got it.
on Mastodon, if you go to my profile, you see all of my blog posts.
Yep.
And if you load my blogs profile, the blog is always boosting my articles. So on a multi-user blog, it's possible to simply follow the blog users because it boosts every account, every user's post. So if you want to have all of the articles, you could still follow the blog user, but it's always under the name of the author, if that makes
So
sense.
boosting in Mastodon terms is a little bit like retweeting or
Yeah,
something. You
yeah,
promote it. You say, I approve.
yeah,
I want other people to see it. So hang on, because my experience of boosting in Mastodon is I have to click a button. I have
yeah,
to be in the UI. But did that do it automatically?
yeah,
Did your blog account did it by itself? That's part of how the plugin
yeah, exactly.
sends that. Okay.
So if a new blog post is federated under the name of the author, it will directly be boosted by the blog user. So you do
That's
not have to do
fun.
anything.
That's a nice
Yeah,
little feature. I
and
like that. Yeah.
I think it's a nice way to have both. So you do not have duplicate content. It's simply you can publish something under your own name, but you have a way to, or you provide a way to follow the whole blog anyway.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like I don't know a tech publication like TechCrunch or something. They've obviously got loads of authors and they want to share their content under their name, but also the TechCrunch brand wants to promote everybody's
Yeah,
content, and so the TechCrunch profile, if you like, would then boost every author's
exactly.
content. Yeah, that's
And
neat.
that was kind of the first experiment, but you can think that further, like, for example, having accounts for tags or categories or other taxonomies, so that you will be able to follow, let's say, only the ActivityPub content on my blog. So it will still be published under my name, but the ActivityPub author will boost everything on my blog that's with the tag ActivityPub, for example.
Gosh.
So you can have a way to share your content, providing a lot of extra information for the other platform, trying to um, define what content you published. For example, is it a video? Is it an audio? Is it an article? Is it a note? And also tries to find the right attachment for that. So tries to, if you have an audio attachment, it might be a podcast episode, and it will focus on audio and publish the audio file instead of images, for example.
Got it.
And that's
Got it.
kind of this one. This one is only for the note. If you want to have custom content, if you want to decide exactly what to share, if you do not trust us, then you could decide and have some shortcodes to exactly define what the plugin should share.
So you can customize that and encapsulate that in a little bit of HTML. So in your case, you've got the
it's like that. You
Okay.
this shares the title and the full content, for
Okay.
example. But you can decide, I will always only add the excerpt.
Got it. Got it.
Media attachment is how many attachments we should use from your post. The special thing about Mastodon is that it strips out every media file from the content and adds it as attachments. So if you want to have media on Mastodon, you have to have a number above 0 here.
Okay.
Then we strip the media from the content and adds it as an attachment.
Okay. Got it. Great.
Here you can decide what you want to share, the custom post type, so to say. If you want to only share posts, if you want to share pages, if you want to share media. That's kind of tricky, because this one would share every media upload, regardless of you added it to a post or not.
Right.
Simply the upload will share it on Mastodon. So be careful with that. You can add hashtags. That means the plugin tries to find a hashtag in your content and converts that into a link and makes a WordPress tag out of it. So
can I ask, just on the previous one, you've got post, pages, media, and so on. If I had a website with custom post types,
it will show up here, and you can enable, disable it. Yeah.
Right. Ideal. So, you can go crazy with that as well. Lovely. Okay.
For block lists, we simply use the built-in mechanism. You can add disallow comment keys in the classic moderation area of WordPress, and it will be reused by the plugin. So there's
Got it.
nothing different. So that's about the normal settings. And then you have the followers page, where you see all your followers. These are the followers of your blog, because it's the settings site. And if you want to see the followers of your user, you go to the user area, and there is another follower, and these are the followers of my user account.
Okay, so this was, again, if you've got it set up so that you've got the blog account and you've also got individual author accounts.
If you only have enabled author, you will only find it in the user section. If you have enabled only the blog user, you can find it in the settings section. If you have enabled both, they will be handled differently because someone can follow your blog but not your user. That's why you have two different areas for that. Yeah.
Perfect. Right, a couple of things quickly. I don't know how much more you have, but let's just raise these points. So this is Eleanor again, just making a suggestion this time. Suggestion for novel writers like me: write short spoiler on the excerpts, then give the link. So have two bits of content, if you like: the main content, the excerpt, and then you can surface the excerpt, and you'd be happy to, that's going to be the shorter version. And then Patricia is asking a question on a multi-site. Ooh. Can the blog accounts be the same in sub-sites and boost the different author posts from all of the networked sites? Ooh.
In theory, yes, but it's not built yet like that.
Okay.
So you can use the plugin in a multi-site if it's configured with subdomains, not subpaths. Because that's a technical thing, and it's not about the plugin; it's about the specification of ActivityPub. But there is not yet kind of a central user that boosts everything, but technically possible. So this could be an extension to that. Yeah.
Okay.
So in the end, every user can boost that. It's in this case, it's to not have duplicate content, but that's also kind of a nice thing if you already have a Mastodon account and build up your audience and have quite some followers, and then you decide to use the Mastodon plugin in WordPress. You can still boost your blog posts using your Mastodon account, and then it will be sent to all of your followers. So it's kind of, you publish that using your WordPress, and then you can share that on Mastodon using your classic and old Mastodon account.
You'd have to do that manually, I guess. You'd have to go in, surface the content, find the boost button, and okay.
It's kind of here and then.
That's the old school way. Yeah. All right. Anything else there? I think we've done the settings, haven't we? That bit's
not quite yet.
Not quite.
I will switch pages. That might be confusing, but I do not want to mess up my main blog. So,
okay, yeah.
We also have some things to make it easier, or that it feels more like a social network. So we have some blocks.
So just to be, because I know that we've got people in who are listening to this. So what's just happened is Matthias he's now writing a blog. He's gone into the block editor and he's just creating a post or a page. I can't remember what
it doesn't matter. You can do it. You can use it in both. You could also use it in your template if you have a full site editing theme.
And what we're seeing is that there's a bunch of pre-built blocks. So you can just chuck in a bunch of, I think there were 3 or 4 that I just caught sight of there.
No, it's 2 of them. It's follow me on the Fediverse. It's kind of a follow widget thing. And as a setting, you can choose who to follow, the whole site or my profile, and it will change. It's the same icon, but you see it in the username. If I change it, it's my first name, for example. I show it in a second. And the other one is Fediverse followers, where you also have the option to decide which followers of the whole site or of the profile. And then if you publish that and check that on the front end, you will see all your followers, kind of like you expected from Mastodon. You have a nice little pager. And
this is great.
Classic links. And you have a follow widget. If it's a bit tricky with the new handles, and it's also a bit tricky to explain to others how they can follow your blog. And we decided to build something to help you explain it to your
users. This is basically a one-click solution. You find that block, chuck it in, maybe in a template at the end of blog posts or something like that, and there you are. You don't have to explain anything. Somebody just clicks the button,
clicks the follow button, and then we try to explain. Either you copy this one and put it in the search field of your Mastodon instance, or provide us your Mastodon instance, and we will do that for you.
And then what, a redirect taking you over there, and then you can, how does that work? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll watch. That's easier. Yeah.
Oh. Have I missed something? Mastodon.
Oh, it's the gremlin. Oh. It's the tech gremlin. You're doing something live. It's you. You were doing so well. You got to 56 minutes without a single technical hitch, and
up to now.
Exactly, it had to happen. No, of course not.
Okay,
you had 3 minutes.
Normally. Oh no, it's not .com. It's .social.
Oh, it's not a technical glitch. It's you typing incorrectly. Success.
So yeah, and then it redirects you to your Mastodon instance of choice and opens the blog's profile that you simply can hit the follow button. So it's kind of do it for me thing.
This is great, honestly. So, confession, right? I installed this on a test site, and there were a few bits and pieces that back then. So, a lot of months ago now that I did that. There were a few bits and pieces that I thought, that's a shame that it doesn't do that. And you've really answered most of those, like especially that follower thing where you can see who your followers are and all of that. Because remember, dear listener, that it's your website that's got all of this on it. And so you can't go to another interface and sort of show it. So having the things like the followers listed out in a one-click block solution, literally click at one button inside the block editor, suddenly it's feeling more like the set of capabilities that I'm kind of used to elsewhere. Oh, this is nice. What a load of fun. Patricia's just saying she's got to go. See you later, Patricia. She's got to go to a WordPress meeting. So thank you. Dankeschön, she says. Great. With literally 1 minute 30 left, do you think you've got through the stuff that you wanted to get through?
Yes, I would say so.
Ish.
It's There's something that I mentioned. So the plugin tries to find the best attachment to share. So in the end, it also supports not only images, but also video and audio.
Oh.
So if you have a podcast, it will show a little player.
Oh, yeah. No, do this quick, because this is great, because it does look good. And I do have a podcast, so this is important.
I'm not sure if...
Yeah, you showed me this the other day, and it was really nice. Can you find a podcaster? And a podcast. It's beautiful though. What happens is it displays the podcast player in a really nice little UI. It just it's ready to go. It's brilliant. Yeah, I think you're right.
I can't find it.
Never mind.
I planned to publish one, but it's not in under a minute. And I would like to at least tease something.
Oh, go on. Yes, go on. No, yeah, go on. I don't care now. Just go for it. I'm gonna extend this for a few minutes. Go on.
So, a good friend of mine and a colleague, Alex Kirk, also worked on a Mastodon API plugin. So that means that you not only can share or federate content with Mastodon, but use a Mastodon app to manage your WordPress site. So this is my blog in a Mastodon app.
So okay, so we're now on Mastodon. We're in the Mastodon app on your Mastodon Mac, app, right? Not your website, Mac. Right?
Yeah,
right.
It's the app, and you see all of my blog posts. You can publish new posts there. Hello. And you have kind of a bit of the social web feeling. You see your followers also in the app, your blog's followers, and with some extensions we are also working on, you might see also your followers in that app soon, or to say it differently, to use WordPress to follow others maybe in the near future.
Are you teasing that, or is that actually what's going to happen? That's great.
There is a plugin. It's called
Friends. That's Alex Kirk's plugin,
that,
right?
Yeah, and that also already allows that. But it's kind of you have to use some different plugins for now. But the idea is to maybe have one big social media plugin in the future that provides all of that, so that you do not have to have a Mastodon account maybe in the near or far future, but to use your WordPress to do everything. Follow others,
follow people, see comments,
be followable. Yeah.
Ay. So you are basically at that point a little your own little version of Mastodon, using the ActivityPub protocol. I should say that
and
it's
to
not
prove
just
that publishing works, here you see
there it is.
just
Look,
published.
yay! So you did it from the app. Yeah. Now it's appeared on that site. Very clever, is all I can say.
Yeah,
that's
and
very, very clever.
The nice little thing about that is that, at least that's my experience, that a lot of these WordPress apps out there are very bloated and complicated at the moment. So this, if you simply care about text and want to put out text extremely fast, this is a really nice way to do that. It's microblogging.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is, microblogging. Okay, I am going to have to call it at this point. That is really great. So a little inkling of what's going to come in the future. The ability to basically follow people, be followed, receive comments, make comments, all of that coming to a WordPress site near you. And then you really are like a first citizen on the Fediverse inside of your WordPress website. It takes a little bit of a mental shift to understand what's going on. So thank you, first of all, to Matthias, tomato, I don't know. I apologize. But thank you for coming and joining us today. Really appreciate it. Off the back of this, we're going to be recording a podcast episode and referencing what we've just done. So that'll come out on the WP Builds podcast reasonably soon. But not just thanks to you. Thank you to all the people who showed up today and made comments. There was a few nice little questions in there. Really nice to have you giving us that information. If you fancy following what we do, wpbuilds.com/subscribe. wpbuilds.com/subscribe. Go there, sign up to our email newsletter, and we will pester you twice a week with bits of content that we create. Old school. There's not a lot in my life that's particularly new, but there you go. So that's it. We're going to knock it on the head. Big thanks to Matthias. We will be back with another webinar at some point soon, but we'll be back with podcast episodes. And This Week in WordPress on Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.